Hey guys, welcome back. Today I have some new leaks for you, mini leaks according to Decade, so we will get even more information for the leaks for the May pack, but we have the first announcement. It is quite big and also was to be expected. Quick little announcement here for the next week. I will be gone, I will be on vacation, so I'm probably not going to talk about the leaks that we will receive next week, but maybe we'll make a video when I am back concerning the leaks. But the first leaks we have for May right here, no big surprise. Honestly, this is what I was expecting and also talked about in the video where I talked about what I expect for the next pack. You can go check that out. It is in the top right corner. Also, if you like the videos, please consider subscribing, hitting a thumbs up and the notification bell. So the first thing, the first leaks, we are going to get the rest of the fiendsmith cards most likely. And this is not a big surprise since we were already expecting the rest of the fiendsmith cards. Since they basically have been released, we were expecting the entire package when it first came out, but this wasn't the case, and apparently the fiendsmith cards should have been released in one of the last packs, the April pack or the end of, so it's not the, it's the April pack or the end of March pack basically. But then Konami apparently decided that they wouldn't do it and they would basically put the release of the fiendsmith cards into the future, which will probably be the May pack now. And this is concerning the rest of the missing fiendsmith cards, which in this case is Agnum Day, Rex Tremende, the Lacrima, and then also Kyrie. So let's talk about these cards and let's see whether they are important. The first one we have is Lacrima, the Crimson Tears, and this is a very important one, probably the most important one that we are still missing. Will definitely make the fiendsmith engine better and make it more self-sustainable so that you can start with fiendsmith cards and then still get to the entire combo without needing to use an extra normal summon body, which the Promethean, not the Promethean Princess, the Necro Princess has already helped the fiendsmith combo, but the Lacrima will make it even better, and the Lacrima will be the card that enables a fiendsmith to be more of a control engine, because with the Lacrima, and we will read her in a second, you can, for example, send the fiendsmith in Paradise, the card we already have, as a bonus interruption, and the Lacrima is also able to basically resummon her every turn, but you will see in a moment how this is the case. So it's a light fiend level 4. This card is always treated as a fiendsmith card. You can normal summon her, but this is normally not what you want to do. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can send one fiendsmith card from your deck to the graveyard, except the Lacrima, the Crimson Tears. If you need access to your fiendsmith engine, you would send an engraver, and if you want an additional interruption, you would send a fiendsmith in a Paradise. And during your opponent's turn, if this card is in your graveyard, quick effect, you can target one fiendsmith link monster in your graveyard, shuffle this card into the deck, and if you do a special summon that monster. So what you would normally want to do here is you go your fiendsmith tract and get your Lurry, and then Lurry becomes the Requiem, the Link 1 as always basically, and then Link 1 goes into the Lacrima and Lacrima dumps the Engraver, at which point you can use the Engraver to shuffle back the Lurry, and then you have two bodies on the field that you can use to make your fiendsmith sequence that you can use via your Necro Princess to transform this level 4 Lacrima into a level 6, and then you have two level 6s where you can make a Caesar, where you can make a Volzalas, or whatever you want to do. You could make a Beatrice in the past, and this is where this additional Lacrima body is so good, because now we don't summon an Engraver anymore and then are missing an Engraver in the graveyard, but we summon the Lacrima as a body and then also get the Engraver in the graveyard. And then what you can do on your opponent's turn, you will just target the Requiem in your graveyard, then the Lacrima will be shuffled back at the bottom or to the bottom of the deck, and then you can resummon the Requiem, and then you can use Requiem's quick effect to once again on your opponent's turn summon the Lacrima, and then Lacrima can send fiendsmith in Paradise, and fiendsmith in Paradise says if your opponent special summons a monster or monsters while this card is in your graveyard where you have put it with the Lacrima, then you can banish this card and send one fiendsmith monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. So you can send another, I don't know, Engraver if you wanted, but normally you will send your fiendsmith Desiree, and then you can shuffle back one light fiend to basically out a card on your opponent's field. So not only does the Lacrima make the first turn better, but it also is an interruption on the second turn and can once again get you into your fiendsmith engine, because you could also just use your Requiem in order to go into the Lacrima and then send another Engraver if maybe you have used up your Engraver on the turn before. So with the Lacrima and the Requiem in the graveyard, which you will always have them there, you can start your plays again, which is why the Lacrima is so important. Yes, we have the Necro Princess, which definitely makes this a bit less important for us, but it's still super good and makes the engine complete, where you can also use it as an interruption engine and a grind game engine. And then we have the next most important one probably, Fiendsmith's Agnum Day, 2 monsters, so it's a link 3, plus including a light fiend monster, so you can make it with every one of them, don't need the engraver, which is nice. Once per turn, quick effect, you can target one light non-link fiend monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and if you do equip this card, you control to that monster as an equip spell with the following effects. The equipped monster gains attack equal to the total link rating of link monsters equipped to it times 600, and this also does piercing damage. So a cool thing that you can do is you can go into your boss monster, into your Fiendsmith Desiree, and then because you have Desiree and the sequence normally on the field at this point, you could go into the Agnum Day, and then Agnum Day could also be used as a link 3 to, I don't know, make another body, make an Appaloosa with another normal body, for example, and then you will have the Agnum Day in the graveyard, and maybe you also have your Lacrima in the graveyard, and then you can use a Lacrima's effect to not only, in theory, summon the Requiem, but you can also summon your Agnum Day, and Agnum Day can then from the graveyard place your Desiree on the field and equip to itself the Agnum Day, where the Desiree had then 3 negations, and you have used a lot of bodies, so you can link climb with this even further. But what you can also do is you can also use the Agnum Day to attack basically, and then in the battle phase also equip it to Desiree, and then you can attack for, this should be 600, 1/8 is close to 5,000 damage, also with piercing damage. So the Agnum Day gives the Fiendsmith engine the additional opportunity to have a good kill push, but also to use these bodies to link climb, because you can resummon the Agnum Day, which means you can resummon the Desiree on the opponent's turn via the Lacrima's effect. So these 2 cards definitely make the Fiendsmith engine way better, way grindier, and more impactful. You will definitely want to play 1 Lacrima and 1 Fiendsmith's Agnum Day. You don't need the Agnum Day all the time, especially if your extra deck is tight, but Lacrima is definitely something you will play in every Fiendsmith deck. And this is good for us because this means you will not have to invest a lot of additional ultra rares. Probably Lacrima will be an ultra rare, probably Fiendsmith's Agnum Day might also be one, but you will only need at most 2, 1 of them. Maybe you can in a heavier Fiendsmith deck go with 2 Lacrima, but you don't really need 2 Lacrima. Then we have Fiendsmith's Kyrie, which is a card not really being played in the Fiendsmith deck. This turn is a normal trap. Your light fiend monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, any battle damage you take becomes halved. Not that impressive. You can banish this card from your graveyard, which is the more important effect. A very cool artwork, I think. Let me know in the comments what you think. Fusion summon 1 Fiendsmith fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters you control and or monsters in your spell trap zone that are equipped to a Fiendsmith monster as an equip spell as a material. So this is basically the effect that also Tract has, so fusion summoning from the graveyard, but you can also use equipped monsters, which obviously makes this a bit better. Then again, the first effect is just not good enough to basically play this card. Makes more sense to play this Interruption, Fiendsmith and Paradise, and if you play 1 brick, basically you do want to play multiple bricks. This is why Fiendsmith's Kyrie is not really a card being played, but you could obviously play it if you want to. And then we come to the coolest looking Fiendsmith card in my opinion, which unfortunately also isn't really played. Fiendsmith Rex Tremende. You can play it, obviously, it's level 9 Fiend Fusion effect. 1 Fiendsmith Fusion monster and 1 Fusion or Link monster, so it's a bit harder to make because you would need either your Desiree or your Lacrima before you can go into Rex Tremende. And then you also need another Fusion or Link monster. Maybe you use a Link monster like your Requiem. You can only use each of the following effects of Fiendsmith Rex Tremende once per turn, by the way, unaffected by cards except Fiendsmith cards while equipped with a Fiendsmith equip spell, so that's nice. It's basically a boss monster. If this card is fusion summoned, you can discard 1 card for cost, send 1 light fiend monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. Could, for example, send an engraver to continue your plays, could send Desiree if it's not already in the graveyard to out a card on the field. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 other Fiendsmith card in your graveyard or banishment, add it to your hand, recycling a Fiendsmith card. This is nice, but obviously this is not supposed to go to the graveyard. If you have it on your field, you can equip it with your Agnum Day, giving it a lot of attack power and also piercing damage, where it is unaffected, so it's basically a boss monster to kill your opponent. But I guess if you want to use the card, you would use it for this effect here. You would just send it from the extra deck if this card is sent to the graveyard to recycle 1 Fiendsmith card from graveyard or banishment. So maybe your engravers got banished and then you can recycle 1, which is nice, I guess. And in a pure Fiendsmith control deck, you would definitely, I suppose, play 1 Fiendsmith Rex Tremende, but it's not a card that has seen a lot of play. So we have 2 useless cards, you could say, for the Fiendsmith engine, and then 2 very important ones, especially the Lacrima. So finally we will have Fiendsmith at full power, which also means that at some point we will probably see a few more hits on the engine. I think that at some point the engraver will probably go to 1, or we will lose the fiendsmith's lacrima. Something like this will probably happen in the future, but for now we will get the entire fiendsmith stuff, which is very nice. Will definitely give a lot of decks some nice boosts. For example, Memento, one of the newly supported decks, will have an even easier time. Now it's a way better engine, and I think now the fiendsmith Memento package is better than the pure Memento package, but we will have to see. So this is the first leak for the next May pack. Very nice, but this was to be expected since this is basically the last thing missing from the Rota pack that we are currently on. As I already said, the video where I talk about what is probably coming next is in the top right corner. And now I'm interested in your opinion. Are you excited for the rest of the fiendsmith stuff, or are you already bored of the engine? Let me know in the comments. I think this is a very cool engine, and I'm very excited that we will have it at full power now. Let me know in the comments what your opinion on this matter is. Thanks for being here, and we will see each other in the next one.